All right, good morning, everybody. Sunday morning, I'm trying to beat the sun again. So I'm going glasses, straight out of bed. Let's roll. E46, this will be my first wash. I did a waterless wash of it before the open house, but this will be my first wash and we'll take you through it. But I gotta get some things prepped. I tell you what, having a air conditioner in here is fantastic, but it's a bit confusing. I'll explain. Look at this guy. This is the NAD Masters M3 streaming DAC. Oops, just turned it on. Absolutely freaking fantastic. So I've been playing with that here in the garage, playing with some audio setups. We'll talk about audio here today. But the problem with Florida, oh shoot, I don't want to get water all over this fancy equipment. The problem with Florida in the summer is that it is crazy humid, like insane. And so when I open the doors up, you know, opening the garage doors up, all the AC goes flying out of here, which, you know, is not such a great thing. And so what I've been doing, just for the comfort of it, is I'll fill up my buckets and get all this stuff moving. I'll talk about that in a minute, why the printer's sitting there. But as soon as I open the doors up, it's humid crazy. You get water all over everything. But I like to get everything set up before I open the doors while I'm nice and comfy. And then of course, gets nasty as soon as I open them up. I'm waiting on two things, waiting on getting my speaker wires done in here because I'm gonna do a surround setup. So I'm gonna do 7-channel surround in here. But I need to do the wires, but I'm waiting on my tile guy to come and do the tile. It's hard to get anybody, everybody's so busy at the moment. So it's so hard to get anything done. So I'll probably end up doing it my darn self. So this garage, the reason why my printer's sitting there is because I pulled everything out of there, the receiver and all that stuff. So that way I'm prepared for redoing the wiring there. Okay, so my foam cannon setup, we need to get rid of the squeak. If you watched last week's video, last week's wash and talk, it was freaking squeak crazy. So let's get a little bit of silicone spray. It's silicone or silicone? I think it's silicone, not silicone. Everybody gets so mad at me. So here's a dry lube. And let's hit our where's the squeaker? Probably squeaking. Let's just work this down. That'll take care of it. All right. As you can see, I'm moving around a little better. My knee is much better. I'm hoping there's no surgery needed. You know, a rational, logical person would just go to the doctor, but remember, the root of my fear is anything medically related. So I like to try to avoid that if I can. I've got a meeting with Lutron this week. About this coming week, becoming a dealer. So I'll wait till then to swap out all my outlets. And then my painters are coming not next week, the following week to do the cabinets and to do paint the exterior of the house. That's gonna be an expensive one. I gotta wash some towels. See, I've got this all torn apart up here. But we're gonna wash the E46, which I'm so excited. It has a graphene coating. So amazing. By graphene, they mean not really graphene. They just sprinkle some dust, some graphene dust in the coating and then call it a graphene coating. It's really the same coating as every other coating. It just happens to have some fairy dust put in it. All right, let's turn the AC off. And it's time to go out and sweat. We're gonna wash this thing and tuck it somewhere because it freaking sucks driving this thing. I hate it. It's not looking good for me in the E46. So yeah, the E46 by extremely wide margin, even over the E36. Now, I've never driven an E30 and have no interest in driving an E30. All right, so you're gonna be a little foggy for a few minutes here until we get this thing climatized outside. And if you didn't watch the last video, I'm doing an AR630 in this garage. It's freaking really heavy. I think that's probably a good thing that it's heavy. But I'm doing that 630 in here because, you know, we have plenty of use of the Krenzla in my various garages. And so the AR hasn't gotten as much love from me. So we're gonna use it and test it out. We've gotten our cutters, or our crimpers and cutters and saws and all that stuff that Mike and my dad are working on to get some water coming from, to get us up to speed to start making our own hoses and just wait and see. The Cobra Jet hose is pretty nice, but man, I've been getting a bunch of samples. I've found some really freaking awesome hoses. We got a lot more samples coming, but we're gonna start making our own for everybody instead of, I'll never be out of stock again. And then I'll sell them to other companies if they want them too. We'll have a wholesale program, and I think that we're gonna be able to provide some really awesome stuff. But anyway, the AR is going in this garage. As you're guessing, I'm not gonna be in this garage for very long. This house is probably not long for me, especially as I get it done. But look how good my grass is looking. Got a 5.0 Mosmatic nozzle on here. And we'll crank it up. So this machine gets about 2.3 gallons per minute. So it actually has more output than the Krenzla. I think it's an inferior machine because it's just a little clunky, but it works. It's good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it in the store. Yeah. All right, let's get washing. Let's see if they coat the wheels. I bet you $50 they're not. So this car, if you haven't been watching, you only watch the Wash and Talks. You got a bunch of comments from some guy. I made a bunch of comments on a bunch of videos saying, "This is the worst detailing video I've ever seen. All you're doing is talking." I said, well, it's called Wash and Talk, bro. Yep, there ain't a lick of a coating on this at all. My buddies at EAG got to step up their game. But it appears I haven't gotten a light out on the coat on the paint. But it appears the paint's been corrected. But there's definitely a coating on here. That's the exciting part. It's got some graphene. Art to shine graphene. Yippee skippy. I'm excited for that. So, I dropped that bombshell on you that this is the worst M3. So, this is my experience. Now remember, experience is a little different than an opinion. An opinion isn't necessarily based on any fact. Experience is based on, having been in it and owned it and driven it. And so this week, I forced myself every single day, all 7 days straight this week, I drove this car. Other than having these competition package wheels, it's bone stock. Bone stock tire sizes, bone stock interior. Everything's, clean and fresh and nice. That's why, you could certainly find one of these from a private party where a guy's taking care of it, but it hasn't been vetted as much as an EAG car. And, I'm paying a huge premium for that. I mentioned earlier I paid $65,000 for this car, which triggers all kinds of guys who bought these for $8,000 and in 2012. Well, I can't do anything about that there. I've been searching everywhere for a car that I wanted. I wanted either white or Interlagos. And where was I going with that? Oh, but anyway, this car has been vetted and checked and rechecked and checked again. And so the nice thing about this, I'm driving around in a factory fresh-ish. Nothing's peeling or falling apart or foggy headlights or, there's no real negative. You just got to pay for that. You're paying for that vetting and the simplicity and the dealership type where I get, you get service, and if you needed anything, like they've sent me floor mats in the mail and all that stuff, that came a little late. Later than, when the car shipped out to me. And so it's a real nice experience, and then I can drive the car around with confidence that it's been tested, it's been aligned, the tires have been balanced, everything's good. Got to teach them to cut the nibs off, though. So I've been driving the car all week, so it's usually when you buy an older car, it's like, okay, I'm gonna drive it around like my E46. I'll drive it around a little bit, but I really need to get this, and that done before I can really drive it. Oops, I forgot I gotta do the tires. Gosh, we still got a lot of work to do on our labels. See, it's wanting to separate, peel off. Some of the bottles it just sticks perfectly. Some of them it doesn't. Can't figure it out. It's the adhesive. We need a different adhesive. So this week I drove the thing all week, and here's why this is the worst stock M3. It's just out of the box. The E46 sounds better. So this car sounds like absolute hot garbage. It's terrible, like the worst sounding car ever. It's terrible. I'd rather have the goofy digital sounds of an F80 than this thing. Gosh, it's bad. So that's number one. Number two, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just boring as crazy. Like, I'm just bored to tears in this thing. Now, the solace I'm taking, I don't know how much I care about this, but you know, if you're driving a fancy car, I guess everybody cares about it a little bit. It looks freaking darn good, you know, from pretty much any angle. This car looks great. I love the square lines, you know. I don't want a CSL trunk. I love the trunk, the style, the look of this car from the side, from the rear quarter or 3/4, from the front. It just looks freaking fantastic. And then when we do the carbon roof, it's gonna look incredible, getting rid of that stupid sunroof. It's really, really good looking. And, you know, I knew I wouldn't love it stock, but I was surprised how much I hate driving it. I'm not driving this thing another minute until I start freaking doing stuff to it. It is just boring to tears. It makes like zero noise, and whatever noise it does make is kind of metally and tinny and rattly, and it just doesn't inspire at this point. There's no inspiration to take this thing to redline. You know, some cars like an S2000 or a you know, a GT Porsche car, it just lives at high RPM. It's so much more comfortable, and just, you know, those cars just are begging to be ragged out. This thing, it just feels like, it's like, please don't do this to me. You know, that's the feeling I get from it, the way it's currently set up, the way it breathes. You know, it clearly needs an intake. We're going to do the CSL type, the Carbonius intake. The thing that's going to be really complicated on this is finding an exhaust that doesn't sound like hot garbage. I think that's my word of the E46 is hot garbage. I don't know that I've ever said that before. It's just what's coming to me. So this thing is just, yeah, I mean, it's low as crap. I can see the potential. And all the E46 guys, the failure to launch guys, are losing their freaking crap right now. But I'm telling you, having owned E36, E46 now, E92, F80, spent, you know, a week in a G80, stock for stock, I would take any of those over this in a heartbeat. Even as ugly as the G80 is, it's a lot more inspiring, a lot more fun to drive than this thing is stock. But, you know, I drove Michael Waba's modified car, and there's some hope as long as I can get rid of that darn RAS. Now his is like 75% reduced RAS. And then people say, well, that's the character of the S54, man. That's what it's all about. No, it's not. It'd be all about for you, but not for freaking me. If that's the way it is, I'm out. See ya. I'll freaking give this thing away. So, yeah, we're not off to a real good start here. But that's half the fun. The fun is discovery. And then when the new NSX Type S was launched, I'm like, well, maybe I should just liquidate the E36, the E46, do a couple giveaways, get myself an NSX. The NSX would be kind of boring, though, because there's no chase on that. You do a tune and an exhaust and you're done. Gosh, if you live without, you know, tire nibs, and then you have them, you know, like, I just can't imagine driving around with those things on the tires, right? I mean, yeah, those of you who have taken me up on that idea to, you know, chop these things off. It's preposterous that you'd have the little nibs on your tires all the time. Can't wait to get my dry ice machine going and get all the wheel weights off of it. And so that's where I differ from what other people would classify as really, really dialed in. Is that doing stuff like that, the wheel weight adhesive is still there. I'm going to take this. The EAG is getting me 90% of the way there, and I got to take it the rest to get it 100%. For every other rational human, EAG is getting you to 100%, but for me, it's not 100%. It's got some distance to travel to get there. And then of course we're going to modify the heck out of it in order to have some semblance of hope that this thing doesn't suck. So I'm sure people are freaking out. The new E46 forum, people are just freaking losing their crap about this guy. And I talked about it on the podcast about how this guy's he just doesn't know anything. And I'm like an OG BMW guy, dreamt about them, wanted one, just couldn't get one. And I never do anything smart, which would be to buy them when they're, cheap. Because, 6-7 years ago, you could buy these things for nothing. Pennies. I don't know. I need some P21S. I don't know that I have any here. I think I do. Let me see. Let me take a look. Yeah, boom. I think my sponge is toast. So this is what you need. This is P21S polishing soap. This is what you need for your exhaust tips when they're just, they just need a little touch up. Take the soap. Oh, my sponge. Oh shoot, I've seen better days. I don't think it's gonna work. This is my original, this is like 10, 12 years old, something like that. I'm turning into an old man, dang it, man. So, I can't use the sponge. Let's just try using our, hopefully don't ruin our wheel mitt here. So I don't have this in the store. It's on our list to try to convince them. As usual, I have to convince everybody to let me sell their stuff. Stuff works great. Did I not twin that wheel yet? I did. So this is just a quick little maintenance cleanup that you do. Your exhaust tips. Just have a little tub of P21S, and then it's just like a minor abrasive soap. And you could get some sort of metal polish or something out if you needed it, something more aggressive. But if you just maintain them, and then put some Dr. Beasley's metal coat on them. Ought to be good to go. Let's do this. You don't need a lot of this. It's better, their little sponge is better because it has you could use like a bug sponge with it too. It's doing the job right now though. Got my Nike Pegasus all weathers, Nike Run Shield, they're called. I'm gonna hustle up here, stop screwing around, the sun's about to come out. So the douche Raptor, slightly douched Raptor, just waiting on tires. Never, ever put mud terrains on your frickin' street driven truck. Gosh, it's so dumb. Like anybody does that. Just the mud trains don't look any better at all. They just freaking wobble down the road. Oh my gosh, I gotta get brakes stat. These are all freaking jacked. We'll clean these up because we're gonna dry ice clean this here the next couple of days, or next couple of weeks, I should say. I got too much to do at the garage. So today I'm gonna work on the speaker wire thing. I'm supposed to be going to church. We'll see. And then I got my zip hydro tap. I'm gonna be installing that. Let's just use this. So the zip hydro tap water system is going to go in here next day or so. Finally got electrical, I got the countertop, I got it placed. I just need to plug it in and then route the wire, or route the hoses and wires, and fire it up. So it should only take me maybe a couple hours or an hour to get set up. So that'll be good. Oh man. I was hoping I had some must have thrown it away when I moved, but some Geon wet coat. But I must have thrown it away. I could spray on the wheels, at least get something on there to do some water beating anyway. Gosh, these tires are their Pilot Super Sports. They have a freaking zillion nibs on them. I like these wheels. I mean, they're going to look better spaced out, but I think I'm going to do LMRs on this car. Yeah, this really makes me go back to my original plan, which is, why don't I just get all Porsches? I just have such a soft spot for BMWs, and you know, the problem with getting all Porsches, there's nothing to do to them. Like, you don't really need to modify much on them, so that's no fun. Of course, all the things I'm going to do to this are going to make it slightly worse, but so when I'm giving you all a hard time about, you know, this thing sucks, it doesn't suck, but it's not fun at all. Like, it's just a boring old man car. That's what this is. It's like a boring old person's car. A cool, really cool old person. But, you know, if I was a really cool old person, I'd be an M5 guy. Really got to get a hold of that Car Pro tire coating. See how that does. There's something on there, but it's failed. There's a couple of spots. Whatever was on there is not really on there anymore. It's probably some freaking turtle wax ice or some bull crap that the previous owners put on. But Matt, it's great value for the money. Whatever that means. You're just saying that because you're not in touch with the world. Well, no, I'm just not interested in supporting companies that don't give a crap about detailing and don't give a crap about anything. Just, I guarantee you, go drive in their freaking parking lot. Just roll down the Turtle Wax parking lot and look at all the cars there. Versus go to Adams and look at the cars in the Adams parking lot. That's how you know you have an enthusiast brand versus a bullcrap brand. The people that work for the brand are a microcosm of what the brand is really about. Now what I'm hoping is that my brand, I'm hoping everybody's able to drive GT3s someday, but that's the hope. Is that we're providing the world with enough value that the people that work there are able to be compensated well enough that they can also live out their car dreams as well. Not just the owner and a couple of executives. That's the plan. We'll see. So audio, I'm getting closer. Starting to work out all the cabling. I got my LYD8s, which are frickin' Dynaudio LYD8s, which are absolutely fantastic. I got my Core 59s, which will blow your face off. And I'm telling you, just be patient. I'm telling you, you want quality audio. Now we're not doing frickin' tube amps and 2-channel amazing setups with Kimber cables, and we're just doing a nice high quality setup, and we'll have all different tiers going from a couple of $100 all the way to 10,000, not 200,000. I think people are just, some people are just, that if you're not into audio, you wouldn't realize that there's some really sophisticated stuff, really high-end stuff where you have diminishing returns for slight differences, which of course, those diminishing returns are lost in the garage. The garage is not a good spot. But I'm telling you, if you've experienced a good set of speakers, a good audio setup in a garage, some decent equipment, it's freaking magical. It's so much fun. It's just such a great thing to have. I mean, this is where I listen to music, and so we're going to be doing PSB on the low end, and we'll have wireless, wired, in-wall, in-ceiling. We'll have studio monitor, which are powered speakers, and I'll have non-powered. If I didn't love this so much, I wouldn't give so many darn choices, but I want to have different options because there's a lot of different garage setups, and there's going to be a lot of different audio setups to really work with the garage. We'll have, we have the Dynaudio music speakers, the little Bluetooth wireless ones, and everything in between. But they'll be just like the pressure washing system, where it's a package that you can get the system. Like, here's everything you need: cables, subwoofer, receiver, transmitter, every part and piece that you need to just hook it up. And that's way harder because I don't want a system. I don't want like just one company. There's a bunch of companies that make great stuff. Now I do have to narrow it down a bit. I don't want to be stuck with one manufacturer that makes the receivers and the speakers and everything. I want to be able to curate it. Yeah, there's definitely some sort of failed something or other on these, but there's spots of it and spots of not. So I'm buying a car that's been detailed. I bet you the door jambs aren't coated either. I was too late in asking them not to frickin' touch it. Don't mess with it. But what are these stupid plants doing here? So now I'll just have to remove the coating and start fresh. Okay, let's get this thing washed. Look at how good that thing looks though, even stock. Such a good looking car. That's why I'm gonna fight for it. I'm gonna fight hard for it and make it frickin' sweet. Yeah, see, I don't. The windows have some sort of weird window coating where its water is like shooting off of it, but when I was using the wipers and stuff, it's just not. It doesn't work well. That's a preference. You know, a lot of people like the water to shoot off of it, but it's still, I mean, I'm guessing it's probably Art to Shine has some sort of window coating. But then it just beads up, these tight, tiny, like trillion little beads, which I would rather not have that. And it makes your wipers not work quite as well. This coating definitely does a good job at most of the dirt coming right off. Everybody gets so excited about it. Water spots. The graphene is so much better. No, it's not. I'm freaking telling you it's not. I don't even need to test it. I just know because it's the same freaking thing. It's just a resin delivered coating, you know, with just happens to have a little graphene sprinkled in, which isn't the main component. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's just the way it is. You can just tell. You could tell when I was reading the original documentation on, you know, refined graphene oxide. What am I doing? I gotta foam this first. Filled my foam canner up a little bit too much. I'm not mixing this easily. Love this quick disconnect. We gotta get something manufactured that's you know, high volume so we can get it, make it available to everybody. It was 125 bucks. It's just way too much for this. Freaking foam can doesn't cost that much. Yeah, so I really would like to get moving on my garage here and get the bike sitting on the front porch, get my bike racks installed, just get moving. Just waiting for everything. Probably gonna tuck this thing in the corner over there and put the, I'll put my E92 car cover on it, just let it sit there. Probably could put a battery tender on it as well. Just until I get the yarn building up to speed. I can't say done because nothing's ever done. You know, I'm always working on it. Get that, you know, moving and functional. And then I can start ordering parts of this and start working on it. So it's gonna kind of chill for a little while. I think it's gonna be nice to have, it's gonna be nice to have a tile-backed section here. So when the wall's got a vapor barrier behind it, and we have tile, it's gonna work really well. Getting water all over my printer. The printer I put up in that upper cabinet next to my network. This house is so small, there's nowhere to put anything, like a printer. I don't have an office. So I don't need a printer, but apparently Michelle needs a printer. So printers never frickin' work. Drives me crazy. She's like, the printer doesn't work. So I made it her printer. She's responsible for it. Figure it out yourself. Troubleshoot it yourself. I'm gonna do the same thing. Try to figure it out. So you figure it out. I hate printers. It's kind of like spray bottles. The marketplace has dictated that, or the manufacturers have dictated that no one would ever want to pay for a printer. I beg to differ, but no one would want to pay for a high quality printer. So then they all suck. Let's take this angle here today. God, that car looks so good. GSF 5 liters are back in stock for now, so get that rolling. We got drying aid is up in the store. Figures I didn't bring any here. I need to bring mine. I still have the orange prototype in the bottle. But it's good. You'll see all kinds of people hating on it, loving it, and get too excited about it. It's not that exciting. It's just a frickin' drying aid. It's good. It's I think the best one. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. Or just buy it from somebody else. But let's see. What else we got to talk about? Talked about we're going to be making hoses. You'll see how that comes about. We'll be sharing that process. Oh, mounter and balancer, Hunter. I unboxed those yesterday. Man, they're freaking complicated. I thought they'd just come relatively assembled, but it's going to take a freaking day to put it together. So there's like a freaking 100 boxes of all these things. It's pretty darn complicated to put together, so I gotta assemble the darn things. So I brought the instruction manuals home and just started perusing through them, so that way I at least have an idea of what all these things I was unboxing and opening up. So I'll be doing my first tire set on the Tesla, because I rolled through my tires on those. Plus it has Pirelli, some garbage Pirellis on it. So I want to size up from 235 to 245, so it won't be quite as stretched looking. Let me get rid of these chrome grills. So yeah, I've got the GSP 9700. It's the RE13 version. That's the model number for the balancer. It's a Road Force Elite, which has a bunch of things that obviously I don't need. I wanted the best. And then the mounter is the Revolution touchless. It's a TCRH, I think it's called, is the model number. I thought it was called the Auto 42S, but it's not. I think the Auto 42S was a center mount version, or whatever it's called. You know, it's funny, Michelle went to college in Boca Raton, and which is basically like New York City and Florida. And so lots of the kids from New York are shipped down to Florida to go to college. And she's like, whenever I see that car, all I think of is Miami. And I just laughed. And she didn't understand why. She said, maybe it's the little grills on the side or something like that. I said, no, Michelle. I said, that's because all the kids in college, you know, this was the year you were in college, you know, the 02, 03, 01, 02, 03. This is the car that they had. She's like, oh, yeah. I was cracking up. I said, it's the car that all us poor kids wanted. And all the rich girls would be driving one of these things. They just get the M3 because it was the best, you know, not knowing anything about it. She's like, oh yeah, that's why I think of Miami every time I see this car. It's like Miami and Los Angeles. That's where I would guess 90% of these things went. But I'm digging the white. I'm glad I got a white M3 back in my life. All right, the race is on now. Here comes the sun. Notice the self-cleaning property of this coating's pretty good. I mean, it feels pretty darn clean. It was pretty dirty. I drove in the rain all week. It's cleaning up it cleaned up pretty nicely just with the rinse. Oh, nice job, EAG. The door jambs are nice and clean. That's good. We'll find out when we dry it if they're coated. Looks like they might be. Feels like they are. Good job. All right, let's rinse it off. Get a little cinematic lens flare for you there for this. Rinsing. It's kind of hard to do anything good on camera when you're operating and doing the work. darn slightly douched Raptor, I put a new drain line on, so that fixed that, but there's still water. You know what I didn't do? I didn't clean behind here. Oh, that's good. All right, I'm gonna clean this mess up. I'm gonna pull the car in the garage. I'm gonna make it more enjoyable to finish the job. First, I want to hit the rotors with some hides because they're all old rusty rotors. This will certainly help us. So we're continuing our pursuit. This is one of our, I don't know, purple shirts. I don't know what color we call it, but I wanted to have one of every color that Los Angeles Apparel makes in the basic, Obsessed Garage logo shirt. So we're continuing that pursuit. Bryce has done a great job of getting that set up and moving. This probably isn't good for the grass because this is softened water. I'm sure it's fine. It's not deionized, that would kill the grass for sure. There's something satisfying about getting all your stuff put away before you dry the car, if you can beat the sun. Pressure washer here. It's not that bad when you have a nice little setup like this. It takes less than 5 minutes to take it apart. That thing really does not like to run dry like that. Wash the GT4. I'm probably going to do that. Probably not going to do that. Who am I kidding? I'll wash it next week. We're going to drive the GT4 this week. So yeah, we're getting the yarn building set up. We've ordered all of our equipment. That's all coming in for wash and drive to start soon. As well as we're going to be making some more cinematic videos. I want to do I don't know what you call it, an expose on each car and tell the story why. So each car that I have, and do some really cool stuff. We're going to do some versus GT4 versus GT3, those kind of things as well. So that's all coming, and then if you haven't subscribed to the Obsessed Garage Shorts channel, go do that. The Shorts is where we're doing about a dozen videos a week on there. Is that poop? I think it's just dirt. I hope it's just dirt. But on the Shorts channel, we're doing very specific. It's mainly videos for the product pages of our website. Updating them. A lot of them are out of date. Products have changed. Process has changed. So we're on this major overhaul project to make the website really, really, really robust, to execute on the vision that I've had from the beginning. That we don't charge more for things, but I don't discount things because we're hoping to provide more value by providing more information. All right, let me pull this thing in and we'll blow it off in the garage. Turn the air conditioning on. Make it way more comfy for me. I'll do a better job. This is why I can't wait to get Swiss tracks. I just sweep this thing out like 2 days ago and it gets swept out again. And this door is almost never open. If I didn't have air conditioning, it'd be dirty all the time. You have to freaking sweep it every day, every week. Got new floor mats to put in. The door sensors haven't been allowing us to close the door, but let's see. AC on. Figures I didn't frickin' turn the wheel back. Let's grab a towel from last week. Yeah, such superficial, you know, all the dealerships and all the companies are getting there. They're starting to understand that paint correction is a thing. But my guess is, you know, the detailer at EAG is probably given a certain amount of time to do the job, and but none of the trim is done. The wheels aren't done, so it's just very superficial. You do the glass, but not the trim. It's just a weird. It's not really detailing. It's kind of detailing would be to do the detail. That's the whole point. Oh shoot. So yeah, I'm gonna redo this whole thing. No biggie. Let's see. I think I still got some drying aid left. Yeah. I hate the color and scent in this thing. Messes up this product. Not all products are unstable when they're scented, but this one is. Looks good. You get the gist of it, right? You can see. See, it's weird. None of the trim is coated. I'm guessing the Art to Shine would work on it. See, this coating, I know Rex likes this coating. This reminds me so much of the coatings that I resisted going to, you know, like the old C-Quartz, original C-Quartz, and some of the original coatings. I just didn't like how they looked. It looks kind of goopy. Like, it looks, I don't know how to explain it. It has like a real synthetic look to it, which most people love that, but I just don't. I like it to look more like wax, like just simple. So it's really subtle. It's certainly not terrible, but this just looks kind of weird. The only reason I know what's on is because it was on my documentation of all the stuff that they did to the car. This trim needs some needs to be coated. I'll just put some of the drying aid on there. That'll help clean it up a bit and make it look a little richer. So the plan for this car is Olin's Road and Track. I'm gonna be doing Carbonius intake, Carbonius carbon roof. I'm gonna leave, I like the stock front bumper. I like the stock rear, the trunk lid. I like those, so I don't wanna mess with that. M Performance Recaro seats. I'm gonna do a blue stitching. You know, match sort of like a Le Mans blue stitching. I'm gonna do Brembos. I think you can do 380 millimeter rotors, Type 3 rotors on this, like I have on my E92. And I think I'm gonna do those in a blue as well. I'm gonna do, I think, LMRs. And then we'll paint the BBS areas with a little bit of a matching, little subtle, little blue touch to it. We'll do Pilot Sport 4S's, my new mounting and balancing machine. What else? Because this has been so well vetted, I don't really need to do much. I guess we'd probably do the rear subframe, spring perch, whatever you call it, reinforcement. So probably do that. I don't think I'll do that right away. We're gonna do a dry ice treatment. Well, after I get all this stuff done, that's the nice thing about this, at least being coated. I'll probably take the wheels off and do those. But then I can wait to detail the thing after I'm done with all the projects. And then of course we need to figure out headers, exhaust, and all that stuff. Chasing the rasp. It's going to cost me a bunch of money to figure that out, I'm sure. See, the problem with the wheels not being coated is now that you miss all kinds of spots. It doesn't clean up as well. So I'm gonna have to go and wipe the whole darn thing down. Wipe the whole wheel down. We'll do black gills. I don't know if they do black grills, but I bet you they do. So black gills and grills. I'll do the IND painted black badges, get rid of chrome. I freaking hate chrome. I'll do the same thing to our... The headlights have some kind of angel eye. It's okay. One of the angel eyes is kind of little, it's two of the LEDs aren't functioning. I don't know where the angel eyes are from. But the paint is in, I can see it, it's in really great condition, and then it's, it's certainly been corrected and then coated, so that's good. So actually I take it back. I kind of like that it's got something on it to buy me time to go ahead and do all the things I'm going to do, not have to worry about detailing it right away. This frickin' towel is amazing. I love it. Absolutely love it. Headlights are kind of beat up. These are AL headlights. I don't know, maybe E46 guys can tell me, are the AL, wouldn't that mean that they are aftermarket? Shouldn't they be Bosch? AL makes like a Bosch replica. Or is AL one of the suppliers? Oh, I hate touch-up paint. There's little touch-ups on the hood. I hate that so much. I'd rather just leave the rock chip. But all in all, I mean, this car, like I said, it's 90%. I'm nitpicking here. It's because that's what I do. But it's really, really freaking nice. Really nice. This Triangate's so good. It's just so simple. So yeah, we're probably sold out, but we have another tote coming and another tote after that. We probably should have ordered two. I don't know why we only ordered one. We just don't have room for it yet. We'll do our first modification right now. Let's snip this thing off. don't want that leash. This leash has no benefit. I'd rather drop my $5 gas cap. I just take this thing. Just take the gas cap, little leash. Just snip it off. Then we'll grab a razor blade. Sonic blade, and we'll just shave it. Shave it flush, and you will never even know it was there. Oh, it's cooling down nicely in here. This is the Mitsubishi 18,000 BTU unit, is freaking perfect. And then I just leave the door open to the house. Problem is, I'm gonna have to get another air conditioner for the house. Because the 3-ton that I have is not enough to take care of the attic. Because we brought the attic inside by sealing it up with Icynene spray foam. And so the attic has to be conditioned, otherwise you end up with attic humidity issues, because there are no more vents or soffits or anything. It's all sealed to the outdoors, which means that the attic is now indoors, which means then you need to make sure it's dehumidified or at least conditioned. The conditioning will do some dehumidifying. Well, that just made the size of my house, took the 50% bigger from an air volume perspective. So now I've got to address that in the 95 to 98 degree heat of the summer, it can't keep up. So we do have to get rid of this window tint. So we'll have to pull this tint off and redo it. The tint is looks like just like a 3M Color Stable or something. It's not a ceramic tint. At least I don't think it is. Doesn't look like it from inside the car. It's not as transparent, and it's not rejecting any heat, that's for sure. I got in this thing, I'd forgotten what it was like. I had the car out in the sun. I got in, I couldn't freaking touch anything for like 10 minutes. It was so hot. Couldn't touch the shifter or the door handles for more than a second. Second modification, we'll yank this M3 badge off. Yeah, I've got to just start doing stuff to the garage here. I'm just start doing it myself. Got to get moving. I want this garage done. That way I can start designing my next house. We'll see. I think Obsessed Garage is about to frickin' blow up. Meaning we're about to, if we can get some inventory, we're gonna be in really great shape. We've got the team. You'll see what I'm talking about I'll share it sooner inside the hex about what I'm up to. I'm gonna make a hex video today. I'm gonna make several this week. Been doing a lot of sweeping floors and moving stuff around. Makes you not even want to mess with the wheels when they're not coated. It's kind of like washing a car that isn't maintained or coated or waxed. It's like, what's the point? Just pushing dirt around, pushing water around. See, we got 2 towels for the whole car. Door jambs and everything. I love white cars. I like blue cars too, and green cars. I like red too. I I like lots of colors. I just don't like freaking baby blue. See, no more squeaky chair. Ooh, I gotta vacuum it. I don't want to. I hate doing the interior so much. So the E46, this week we'll do the clutch. We gotta put the front bumper back on, finish up the cooling system. There's just a little bit of wiring that we need to finish up. Just in figuring out how the thermostat or how the wiring for the new fan is a little wonky, a little goofy. And so we'll finish that up this week. And then I'll be sending it off here soon to get the interior done. And then we'll do the audio system with the, be doing the, what's it called? BAV sound. Sorry, we're like super wide angle for them being in here. Engine bay looks pretty nice. It's a good looking engine bay. Everything about this car looks good. If only it didn't freaking sound so bad and be so freaking boring to drive.
Matt, that's just because you're not driving it hard enough. Come on.
Oh yeah, get a little dry ice, clean up that Cosmoline there. I'm gonna get my dry ice machines up and running. What I'll do is the machines, the Evo is small enough that what I'll do is I'll bring it home sometimes and I'll just have like a little transportation cooler. I can bring some ice here whenever I need it. And that's all we need. But most of the time I'll do my dry ice cleaning at the garage. Nice. Got some work to do on the inside here. Getting this thing sounding cooler. Ooh, I like that I can get in here and wipe all this down every time. It's good stuff. So that's a wrap. Remember, you E46 lovers, that I'm sharing the experience, sharing start to finish, and right now I don't love this thing. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. And that's the spice of life. That's the chase. So remember, I'm not hating on your decisions. This is just my experience with the car. I don't like it stock. I think it looks freaking fantastic. That's why I bought the darn thing. And and I think that there's a high probability I can get it and make it what I want. And if I can't, then I'll get rid of it. And we'll just do another car and do another car and do another car and do the same thing over and over again. But that's part of the fun of this. So anyway, thanks for watching. Next Wash and Talk, I don't know what we'll do. Maybe we'll do the GT4 next week. I'd love to get to the point to where I just have multiple cameras running, and we'll continue to improve this stuff. But this is the old format. This is what's made this whole thing for me. Is just having the camera. Usually it used to be out of focus. At least it's in focus. Have the camera in the wrong spot and wide angle, and just showing you. Hanging in my garage if you were sitting on a stool off to the side. I'm talking to you like we're here. So it's a nice form of therapy for me. So I'm going to turn on my Evoque 20s and my NAD M3 and listen to a little music and just kind of work on some of the finer details, getting to know this car a little better, do some vacuuming, swap the floor mats out, and yeah, just enjoy the process, and we'll start tearing this car apart soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. See you soon.